My career I started in the year 1988 when I completed my mechanical engineering from RV College of Engineering, Bangalore. Now, 1988, the scenario was there was no mobile phones, there was no internet, there was no, in fact, even personal computers were not there. There was no Wi-Fi. So that's the kind of scenario in which I started my career as an engineer. As an engineer, I had a choice between what line I should take, whether it should be maintenance or production or sales and marketing or R&D. I had a flair for languages. I like to meet people, and I was interested in traveling. So I opted for sales and marketing. Initially, of course, I did join as a GET in Hindustan Motors, Calcutta, on the shop floor. But after my traineeship, I shifted lines. I went to sales and marketing. A large part of my career I spent with the Murugappa group of companies, where I was with Carborundum Universal, then I was with TI Diamond Chain, and then I was with Tube Products of India. As I said, I wanted to go into sales and marketing because I like to travel, I like to meet people, and my stint with Murugappa Group helped me in this. I started my career in Bombay, then went to Calcutta, in Jamshedpur. I was in Delhi for some time, Coimbatore, then Chennai, then I went to Bombay again. And finally, I became the national sales manager in the head office in Chennai. When I started my career, I had planned my career growth also. Those days, like I said, there was no internet and there was no Wi-Fi. So I gauged my career path by looking at the appointments pages in the newspapers. And I found that the topmost positions that were advertised were the general manager level positions. And the age was around 45. So here I was as a fresh engineer at the age of 22. And I planned for the next 20 years, I will chalk out a growth plan where I will get into executive, then senior executive, then middle management and senior management. And by the time I touch 45, I should also be a general manager, which I did achieve by the year 2007. I did become a general manager. And when I reached that crossroads, I took the next jump in my career where I moved away from sales and marketing. And I said, what else is next? What do I do? So I said, I either handle exports or I go abroad. And when I got the opportunity to move to the Gulf, to Muscat, where I joined Sohail Bahwan, I took that opportunity and I moved there. I've been there for the last 10 years, where I handled the other side of the table. From sales and marketing, I went into supply chain and procurement. This also gave me an exposure to exports and imports in the Gulf, exporting to African countries, importing from our principals whose dealerships we had taken. After that, I came back to India. I wanted to then go to the next stage of my career where to become a business head. I got this opportunity here with the VST group of companies as a CEO, as a business head for their automotive dealership business in Karnataka. So that in brief is about my career, the start and my early years and where I am today. The hurdles or challenges were many in my career, but specific to the VST group, since you're asking. When I took over this group in the year 2017, our businesses were not going through good profits. We had a very good network, we had investments, but we were not really the number one dealership and we were not also making profits. As a CEO, that was a mandate given to me to do a turnaround. And I used all my expertise and knowledge of man management skills, process management, and handling people and customer care to turn around the business. The challenges were initially the people who were in the system, had got used to a particular way of working, which was definitely not aggressive, not competitive, and not in keeping with the times, where you had more dealerships, more competition coming in from other brands, other dealerships. And in fact, even our principals also questioned our interest and intent in running the business. So I used my skills, as I said, first of all, getting into the good books of our principals, educating and sensitizing the employees in the company that we have challenging times and we need to prove ourselves. We cannot rest on our past laurels. And finally, taking some hard decisions in rebuilding the team, replacing bad blood with good blood, removing a lot of the flab. A mix of all these steps helped me turn around the business, and I'm proud to say that after 5 or 7 years of continuous loss making before I took charge, within 1 year of my taking over, the entire business did a complete turnaround. And even during the worst periods of COVID, we managed to deliver reasonably good profits, on the basis of which today, in the good times, we are making very good profits as desired by our investors and my management. One of the key factors of finance in automotive sector is the vehicle safety standards. While there are safety standards, prescribed by the government, prescribed by international bodies, often we have seen reports in the newspaper and in the automotive magazines that many of the so-called superior brands with selling large volumes are not meeting the safety standards. In a country like India, where the population is so dense and heavy, where there is a lot of traffic, and there's a lot of motor vehicle related deaths, I think it is very imperative that the government makes the laws more stringent. There are laws. I would appreciate, I must appreciate that the government has put in very, very many laws. But like many of the laws, they are not implemented very strictly. The strict implementation is really required, both at the manufacturer level in terms of manufacturing standards, of safety standards, and also in terms of the ownership, in terms of driving discipline. Road rage is something which is very common these days, leading to deaths. So people need to be sensitized, and the automotive manufacturers need to be pulled up wherever they fall short on these safety standards. That I would think is the primary responsibility in terms of the governance of this sector and this industry. The second would be in terms of the product mileage. Whatever said and done, the prices of fossil fuel in India is quite high. If the government can do something to bring it down to more reasonable rates as it is in most of the other parts of the world, it would encourage the industry to grow even more. With the electric vehicle business coming in, there is enough scope to even reduce the carbon print and move into more eco-friendly vehicles being produced. So there also the government is already working on something, but I look forward to something more stringent and more clear and well thought out plan to make this change. Yes, the electric vehicles basically, as the product itself says, does not use fossil fuels, which means we do not destroy the earth using valuable petrol or diesel, and save on emission or carbon monoxide emission, which is destroying the ozone layer and also adding to pollution. Again, adds to a lot of health and other related issues. The electric vehicle is devoid of all these emission related matters. However, there is a school of thought which says the manufacturing of the lithium batteries is in itself not really an environment or eco-friendly process. We would need to look at a better way of manufacturing these lithium batteries or any other alternatives to this to save the world and also to sustain the automotive industry and success out the fossil fuel products and move into more eco-friendly and environment-friendly vehicles. In the recent times has been the impact of COVID and the pandemic on our business and also on my personal life. In terms of the business, in 2019-20, when the COVID first hit us, it was the first time for us, like for anybody else. As a business head, I was answerable to the investors, and here we had a full month where the business was entirely closed, which means zero revenues. But we had to pay rents, we had to pay salaries to the employees, and also keep the employee morale high. Uh, so we had to work out. I had to work out a situation where both the investors as well as the employees are happy. It was not a very easy or a good decision to make, I would say. It was or a happy decision to make, but it had to be made considering my role and my responsibilities. But I use this to even reduce or remove some of the flab in the system. Any system, after a few years, it develops a lot of flab, a lot of extra costs, a lot of people call them, weighing down and pulling down the system. So this gave me an opportunity to clean it up, remove a lot of people who were underperformers or non-performing, a lot of different roles which were built up over the years, which were not necessary, made the system and the organization structure more lean and mean and performing. So in that sense, the hurdle or the challenge to convert and clean up the business and make it much more efficient. On the personal front, one of the major hurdles I faced was when I had, as I told you, I had reached a position of general manager in the Murugappa group, and I wanted to look for the next change. The next change came in an opportunity where I had to move out of India and go to the Gulf. This was a time when my daughter was in the fourth standard. My wife was having a very good career in ICICI Bank. And my moving out to the Gulf meant she also had to resign. My daughter also moved from her schooling. It was a decision. It was not an easy decision to make, but then I said, no risk, no gain, no pain, no gain. And we collectively took the call, saying that since the money is better and the lifestyle, the quality of life will be better, I'm sure we do be for our best benefits. Today, when I look back, I have no regrets. Thanks to that opportunity or that hurdle or the challenge that came in, I got to see the world. I got to enlarge my network. My wife had a greater exposure to better qualities of life across the world. We traveled, and we are in a much better position right now to understand why the world is what it is and represent a global Indian citizen. Now, as a CEO and business head, I'm now completed 6 years. So I'm looking at the next level of my career, which is more into the directorship, which is why I've taken up this opportunity to enhance and add value to myself. So I would like to use my experience. I have 35 years of experience now, both in India and abroad, and in different sectors, industry sectors. I was in the automotive components, I was in instrumentation, I was in maintenance tools, I was in cutting tools, oils, lubricants, and also now in the automotive retailership. So this experience and having worked across India and abroad, knowledge of processes, I have knowledge of implementation of ISO. I was heading the CII Excellence Awards in the Murugappa group, so I know what are the criteria for all these things. I would like to use this knowledge and impart it and share it with various companies, both existing, established, as well as startups or SMEs, and help them achieve the various landmarks that they have or their investors or the investors have envisioned for them. For the younger generation, my advice would be to keep faith in yourself. Life is hard, life has got challenges, but you are in a scenario where there's a lot of support mechanisms, both technologically as well as emotionally. I know we are all in nuclear families, but this generation is more resilient, has got more opportunities for growth and proving themselves. Do not waste time on going into the virtual world. There's a real world out there where you can use your creativity, your knowledge, where enthusiasm to prove yourself. And unlike my generation, where it was absolutely necessary to follow a salaried career path, today the opportunities for entrepreneurship is immense and very wide and across various sectors. So select like to do, follow your dreams, and make yourself happy.